So like what in like initially like what started like and got you a lot of attention was like releasing the COVID numbers prior to the government, like a day beforehand. Was
Yeah.
that your first start of content, or was just that this thing that really hit for you?
It wasn't my first start. I was for about I was probably making the page was up for about maybe 3 or 4 months. And I had around like maybe 70, 80,000 followers on TikTok and about 10,000 followers on Instagram. But the numbers was definitely something that, like, doing the COVID numbers, like, catapulted exposure and being seen. I was on morning news shows. Like the videos on TikTok were getting a lot of views, and Instagram, and the following went up massively.
Yeah.
And then it was trying to like maintain that following. Post doing the numbers was a bit of a challenge at the time, but yeah, definitely it was for exposure. The numbers was massive, but prior to that, I was doing skits, pretty much what I do now. I was doing a lot of vox pop street interviews, which everyone can do. It's or not overly difficult, but that was just, especially early TikTok days, that was stuff that was pretty rewarding for your account. But I was having fun doing it. I was acting a little bit. I was doing like TV commercials, and I was doing a sketch comedy web series. It was a live comedy show, then turned into, like, when COVID came, it turned to a YouTube sketch show where I played like a in the field, news anchor type person.
Yeah.
And those videos that we're putting out online, we're getting a bit of traction in terms of views. So, yeah, I've been doing it for a while, but just, definitely got really lucky with doing the COVID numbers. And that whole span of releasing those numbers definitely put me on the map. But, it was fun in general. And probably, without doing that, it would probably take me longer to get where I am now in terms of social media following.
Did you ever like get contacted by someone from the government when you were releasing the numbers, like saying, "Hey, John, shut the fuck up"? Like, was there ever like, "Hey, get in the trunk"?
Yeah, it wasn't a get in the trunk. It was more of a like phone call, because at the time you're giving your number out to all these producers from your 7 morning shows, your Today shows. So your numbers getting out there, your phone number, and we got a call from New South Wales Health. At the time, saying it's in your best interest if you stop putting out the number, like the COVID numbers. I was like, yeah, no worries. And then from like maybe there was like a 2-day span or 3-day span after that where I'd never actually said the number. I was like, I got someone else to say it. Like, I'd get my brother to say it, or like just as a G up. Like, I didn't really care if I had said it or not, but we just try to like creatively be like, one day Stephen Hawking said it in a fake interview, like. So yeah, we kind of mixed it up.
But like, starting to do that, I think, like, because you had the whole nation probably going, "How the fuck does this guy know this?" It's like, I think there was one like rumor like you were this brainiac scientist and you were like calculating the population due to like the square meterage, and like someone was trying to explain it to me, and I'm like, nah, man, this guy just looks like one of the boys from the area, man. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah. No, to this day, like, it depends. Like, we just got back. We just got back from the World Cup, so I still get stopped now saying, "Oh, what's COVID numbers? What's COVID numbers?" You know what I mean? But like, when I have a piece of content that pops off, the chat will definitely be around that. Like, "Oh, welcome back from Qatar" or something like that. But even now, still, it's been almost a year on. Almost a year and a half, and I'll still get, "Oh, the numbers guy," you know what I mean? So it was at a time where everyone was in lockdown. The only thing people were watching was the news to see the numbers at 11 a.m. every morning. So yeah, I didn't really realize how prominent it was until we got out of lockdown, and all these people saying, "Oh, you're the TikTok guy that was releasing the numbers." So yeah, no, it was such a fun thing to do, and it kind of got me in a bit of hot water. With court, but I mean, like, it was definitely worth it in the end, and it was just funny to do.
How did you work out the numbers though? Like, did you have someone like working in the like New South Wales Health? Did you have a link somewhere?
I never directly knew anyone that worked for New South Wales, and that's not even me covering my bases from a legal thing. I never knew anyone in there. To this day, I say it's just cold hard maths. Just my brothers, the Kairouz probability theorem. It just never faltered.
Come on, man. Like you can't be putting it down to mass, bro. Because it's like, why wouldn't like tons of other people be coming up with this shit? There has to be something more to it.
I mean, there was a point there where a few other people were putting the numbers out as well, and they were probably getting it right too. But I think we just got to a point where a lot of people were just coming to our page to see if we were getting it right, and then we also put a bit of production behind it. Maybe that's the wrestling in me. Like, let's just make a promo out of it.
But you know what? It'd be pretty funny if the government then decided to go and work the public and just was like, you know what, let's just say his number is correct.
You know what's also funny? It was through a proxy. So through someone who was repping me, was the government like, I got like a proposition to say, hey, do you want to announce the numbers in the morning at the Daily News? But you have to promote. If you do it, you'd have to promote like, staying indoors and get your vaccine and stuff like that. And I was just like, it's it'd be like turning heel at that point, like I just join the McMahon stable.
But did you so you were against the vaccine, you were against the lockdown and everything?
I was never against the vaccine. No, I mean, like why I did get in trouble at the time was, I didn't, like I said, I didn't, because I did that numbers in like a week span, and obviously grown in popularity, and then off the back of that, there was a protest in Sydney for lockdowns. It was a lockdown protest, and at the time, like my old man runs a small business, so my parents were going, and I just like, I'll tag along, and I didn't realize, how popular the numbers thing was. I know it was all over the news, but like I had people coming up to me at the protest, taking photos and stuff like that. And then me being there and saying something there, because I was asked to kind of just say a few words, like really impromptu. I don't know. It was taken in a very negative light at the time. Now, I don't think really anyone gives a fuck because everyone's kind of over lockdown, very over COVID in general anyway. But it was more so really just hated lockdowns because, we were just too deep into lockdown of, being inside your 5 kilometer radius and just going for walks around the park. It was like a prison. But no, I never came out and said anything against the vaccine or anything like that. But it was more just, the initial lockdown.
I think the lockdown to me was like, it felt so extreme. And it's like when we saw the protests happening, and I think probably the reason why you got a lot of heat from the protest was the fact that police would then got bombarded with like ink bombs and, like debris and shit like that. And that was like heavily spread across international media. Whereas like people like the dude punching out a fucking horse, you know what I mean? Like that was that sort of shit. And then there's like you standing there with a megaphone, like, I
definitely got probably tied into the whole emotion of it. But I mean, like I said, there was probably 30,000+ people there, and then the media go and report that there was like 3,000, 3,500. Like no one believes that, but there was a lot of normal everyday people there that were just like, no, we're in a kind of free society. We shouldn't be like told, you just have to stay at home, don't do anything. You know what I mean? Like. And looking back on it, I feel like, the whole narrative's kind of changed. No one would go into a lockdown again. It's seen as like, I don't know, it's seen as kind of like useless. I don't think it was that effective. You got news.com articles now saying, if you look at Sweden or you look at places elsewhere, it's like, we probably shouldn't have done that. And a lot of like journalists and news presenters have kind of changed their tune, because I think in China, there's they've kind of just forced people into another one. And now they're praising lockdown protesters in China. So it's like, where was this praise? See, how come I didn't get my praise for going to a protest, 12 months ago? No, but it's kind of shifted. And for me, it was like for where I was at from like trying to be a comedian, a presenter. Yeah, it was definitely a big hit because, it's polarizing. I've never been to a protest in my life. I don't even generally like politics. I like making fun of politicians. The fact that it was so politicized was crazy. And I mean, it's nice that now that no one, the time kind of passes and no one really
Yeah.
cares. But at the time, you're getting hit up by all these brands. Oh, let's do this, and management people want to say, oh, we like your stuff online, to shunned from like society, and you're getting death threats and stuff. Which again, like I said, I mean, if I've got a good family, like I wouldn't pay too much attention to all that. But it was so funny to go from the highs of, everyone's watching in the country, keep it up, keep it going, to we hate you. You know what I mean? So it was kind of like a little hill turn. And I got to say, I agree with Randy Orton and, some of the GOAT heels. It's fun to be a heel sometimes.
But like the death threats, man, like what sort of death threats? Were there people like coming past your house throwing bricks and shit?
No,
like,
it was more just like, I hope you die, kill yourself. Like it just, and it was from the most random places too. Like you're getting like Facebook messages, and you don't even look at your Facebook account anymore, but you still get, I was getting messages on like Star Now, or like something like, my Instagram message requests were just full of like people spraying, or comment sections. They would go through like old posts and just stuff and commenting stuff. But that kind of stuck around for the remainder of the year. Like I remember I went to America on a trip at the end of 2020, and it was just the same. It was like, probably the following was declining. Was still getting a lot of the same comments, like, just negative comments. But yeah, I mean, it's just funny now. It's like an afterthought. It's really surpassed.
I mean, I think like for like the fact that it has been able to surpass as well, like, because I feel like you kind of were just like a victim of circumstance, really. Like you were in a bad situation at a bad time.
And, man, I take like, yeah, I full accountability. Like I could have definitely not gone. Like it's as simple as that. But at the end of the day, like there's far worse things that I could have done. But at the time, no one really knew what kind of was going on anyway, like in terms of COVID and lockdowns, and it was all pretty new to us. So I don't know. I won't say I regret it, because you learn from everything, but it was definitely a learning experience.
Well, I think as well, like, I said after the last lockdown, I said if they put us in a lockdown again next year, which would have been this year, I think we'll go from protest to having like full-blown riots like they were having in the United States. I think there would have been fucking looting and fucking everything in the streets. Yeah. I think you would have been fucking barring up your windows at your houses, because I think that was probably the next step from that, man, like from what we saw.
Yeah, man, we had it, like Melbourne was the most locked down city in the world. Like that in itself is crazy. Like Canada had it pretty bad. It was just, like you said, the measures were probably a bit too extreme. Like really, like did we need a curfew? Like what are we, like prison? Like, you know what I mean? Like there's stuff like that probably had no basis in science. That was getting pushed onto us. It didn't really make sense. But I mean, like I said, I don't really like talking politics too much, but at the time, it was the only thing that we could talk about. There was nothing on. There was no, like it was a sport was an afterthought. It was just morning, noon, and night. It's like, what's the numbers? How long are we in lockdown for? When are we out of lockdown? And it was the only thing people were making content about. It was the only thing people were consuming. So it was like, how could you not address it, or like, have an opinion on it?
I think that the one industry that boomed the most during like the pandemic would have been like the OnlyFans industry and you know what I mean? Like the porn industry. And like, let's face it, a lot of content creators as well like came from the pandemic.
100%. A lot of content creators. Funnily enough, like I was working at BWS in the marketing team over there, and it was like the business was booming for them, because that was liquor was definitely an essential service during the pandemic, because you need alcohol. So, I mean, that in itself was a bit funny, and that was one of the industries that was booming. Liquor, OnlyFans creators were probably making bank, and a lot of content creators, like a lot of people. If you talk to a few creators, like, oh, it's a thing I just started during lockdown, and it kind of just carried on after. Yeah, so many people were doing that. And like I said, I probably got the most exposure in Australia-wide during that time. So yeah, it was definitely a funny time.